dear soul family and soul friends, and welcome back to another episode. What was Sovereign Soul Radio, which is now Inspired Sovereignty Radio. So welcome everybody, welcome back. We are on magical episode number 50, and today marks a very significant, very auspicious, very sacred shift in my own creations, which are now co-creations. And everybody, as I promised you in the last episode, we are wholeheartedly welcoming my divine new counterpart in all things business. And we have been full of giggles and profuse sweating, at least on my part, in getting ready for this. Okay, in both of us. And I, from the bottom of my heart, and from all of the friendship that I have in all of my cells, I welcome Kimberly to the show. So everybody, if we can these little, is this how jazz people clap or poetry people?
Golf, I think.
Okay.
No, golf is this.
Welcome, Kimberly. Welcome to
Thank
our
you.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So hi, everyone.
Here we are.
Yes. So for everybody that's maybe new here, because Kimberly's very much an amazing people person, and you guys know that I've been sheltered, but I'm breaking free. But we know that we're going to be growing a very grand audience of soul friends here, and so we just want to say hey, everybody, you hopefully already know I'm Ivy, and so Kimberly, hello and welcome to our show and greetings.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe we're doing this. It's so exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
This is something I've thought about a long time ago.
Yes.
We'll probably get into that at some point.
So today we've got an amazing, hopefully really fun episode that we're going through. We were going to be filming this during the day, but I mean, setting everything up, oh my goodness, this stuff takes a good amount of time and energy and repeated troubleshooting, and then giggle breaks and breathing breaks, and then more troubleshooting, but here we are. So today we are going to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're going to dive into both of our stories of awakening. And we want to do this in a really creative way that's enjoyable for you guys to be listening. Hopefully in ways that you can see yourself and feel yourself within both of our stories of awakening. Because a lot of us have been awake for a really long time to certain things. And a lot of us are just waking up to a lot of stuff now, and such a diverse spectrum in between. And our own individual stories of awakening they're so precious. We're going to have 8 billion stories of awakening on this planet soon. That there's a lot of alchemical medicine that can happen through storytelling and sharing from the heart. So we thought that it would be a great way for you guys to get to know really both of us, but also, to share our gifts of magic and medicine and wisdom and trial and tribulation along this path of awakening. So that's what we're going to get into today. But first off, before we get into a little bit of housekeeping, Kimberly, tell us a little bit about you. And everybody, it's Kimberly, it's not Kim.
No.
It's not
it's
pink Power Ranger Kim. It's
straight up.
Kimberly.
Kimberly.
Okay,
Yep.
Kimberly.
Yep.
We like our full names.
Full name.
So tell us a bit about yourself.
Where do I start?
Where do you
just
start?
the basic is I'm a mother of 4.
Goodness.
4.
4.
And a grandma, which those are kind of my claim to fame. That's my claim to fame.
She's built some people who have also built other people right there.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Made people that made people. I have basically worked in retail my whole working life.
Yeah.
And, been married a few times, done that.
Good lessons.
Lots of learning in those. I've been on Earth for 50 years.
50 solid years.
Yes. And I have learned so much about so much. And I don't know how relevant it is.
Yeah.
But, I'm a constant learner and teacher, really. I love to teach. And I love people.
Okay, so for me to share just really quickly here some of my very, very favorite things about having our friendship, or maybe I'll just give a quick little bit of background for everybody right now, because you guys know that I'm super lone wolf. You guys know that I'm here in the collective with the collective, but that, I do things on my own, in my own time, in my own way, alone, because that's what Ivy's been. So one of the podcast listeners who was repeatedly emailing me, and a bunch of you guys know that I become a little muted at times, and I am not as communicative as I wish to be and am becoming. That Kimberly was one of the dear friends that was actually local to me, that we had not met yet, but there was like this connection coming. And so, hang on, where am I going with this? My favorite things about you. Like why I want to do this with you, you know, because this is probably odd for people to be like, oh, she suddenly has a co-host. But it's like, my friends, I had been calling in someone. I had been calling in now for months, like a partner. My husband, he has a partner that he creates everything with. So there's always like, there's the twosome, you know, and it's work is shared, inspiration is shared, duties are shared, creativity grows, things actually happen. And so I kept like calling in, like, where's my person? Am I ever going to have a person? How am I going to find a person that is on the same level as me with the spiritual stuff, with the analytical stuff, with the podcast stuff, with the Q stuff, with the plant medicine stuff, with all of the stuff, with the cleansing, with the health, with the relationships, with the conscious vocabulary, with all of the things. How am I going to find somebody? How? And I didn't even have to find her. She found me. So when we finally started talking and playing with our firearms at the gallery together. Is it called a gallery? Shooting range. I feel like it should be called a gallery.
Shooting gallery?
Shooting gallery.
It's like when the ducks go by. Whoops.
Well, kind of like that. Okay. So when we started doing all of these things together and really finding that is like, wow, we've got so much common ground, although our stories are so different, although we're very, very different people, but in all of the things that we like truly value at the heart of us, we're very, very, very strongly compatible in all of the ways that really count, in all of the ways that maybe we're not compatible in our own relationships or whatnot. It's like we just found deep, immediate, trusting, safe friendship between each other, but also with very, very similar goals, like truly with the same goals and the same desires to initiate those goals. So it really all just became perfectly that you know, I was able to see like, yes, I can keep doing my own thing, but you know, honestly, I've been struggling with it. And to be able to share space with somebody who has same skills but also opposite and opposing skills in great ways, and to be able to cultivate something with somebody in a more grounded way, you know, so that we can root deeper and then rise higher. Like this has been such incredible medicine for my own heart and soul that I had to say, this needs to be ours, you know? And that's part of me also like letting go of this is mine, I'm an only child, this is mine, instead of being in a space of sharing. So like, yeah, we met in such beautiful ways, and this woman is so organized. This woman is grounded and spiritual and has done so much work. She is a certificate junkie like me, but we're not looking for certificates. We are seeking knowledge for the sake of knowledge, you know, but just right?
And for growth, for our own personal growth. And then it's like, I want to help people with
this.
This.
Exactly. You know, we both have the exact same mindset of like, grow, 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 grow. What's the next book? What's the next podcast? What's the next course? Mm-hmm. And you know, there's not a lot of people are like that I've met. So just to be able to find somebody that's always seeking and growing, and not like seeking from outside of yourself, but also seeking from within. And it's just been amazing. So everybody, that is why we're doing this thing together. So Kimberly, anything else that you want to share on that? I know I just rambled for a moment.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is true. She was a lone wolf. And it was true that you were a lone wolf because I had to pursue you.
I made her work for it.
And be persistent. And we'll probably talk a little bit about that in a few minutes, but just I had to be persistent. And also in my head, I was just like, okay, this is somebody that I want to partner up with in some way. I didn't know what it looked like at first. I mean, I imagined doing this, but like once.
Okay. Like maybe you would be on my show once.
Yeah. I don't know why. Okay. And then as we got to know each other, it was more like, no, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. We're going to do. We are doing.
This is happening. Yes. So it's been a really good journey so far. So quickly getting into our housekeeping bits. If you are listening to this podcast in the regular listening places, you're going to notice that we are indeed on episode 50, that this is indeed the start of season 4, because this is obviously a brand new season of life for both of us. And I know for you, the listener, that you are also entering, you know, a brand new stage of growth for yourself as well. So this is season 4 for all of us. So it has gone from Sovereign Soul Radio to Inspired Sovereignty Radio, because we are still completely about sovereignty on all levels, but also right from a place of inspiration, from a place of being in spirit, from a place of being in service, understanding that sovereignty is very much a multidimensional concept. And with that, otherwise with housekeeping, okay, so we've got new podcast, we've got Patreon community is about to be launched, okay? So in our next episode, we're going to have all of the details. If you want to go and explore what we are offering, because we are like a one-stop shop for everything that you need to navigate these times. Mind, body, spirit, cleansing, healing, detox, everything. So amazing, amazing.
Yep.
Then also, this podcast is on YouTube. So we have a YouTube channel now also. So we will have a new podcast episode like this that you can either be listening in any of the podcast apps. We are recording through Anchor, which you know, or you can watch these conversations now on YouTube, depending on what type of content you like to digest. So we've got podcast, Patreon family, that also includes a Discord, which is amazing. We've got our YouTube channel, website is coming, email list is coming, courses are coming, and much, much more is coming. So we just want you guys to know that it's like we are balls to the wall, creating hardcore for just how we can support, because we've both spent years just, growing all the skills to support at this time. Now that we have each other, we can do it better.
Yeah. Hitting the ground running.
Hitting the ground running, our friends.
Like even a little prematurely for me.
Yes. Yes.
I still work a full-time job.
She's in tremendous shifts right now, but we are 5 weeks out from her being full-time co-creative mode 7 days a week with me. I mean, we'll call it 5 or 6. But yes. So, okay. So friends, that's all our housekeeping bits right now. We will have more great things to share in our next episodes. Oh, and one other thing with our YouTube channel, we're going to be having approximately 3 videos going up a week, but Monday is the day that you're going to have our podcast together. And I'm also still going to be doing the solo episodes like I've done in the past, because I just love doing that. And there's just so many conversations on these things to be had. So we might also be having a solo episode every week or every other week. We're going to navigate what this looks like, but there's going to be at least 3 videos a week coming out from us. And oh my goodness, the stuff that we have planned is going to blow your socks off. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So friends, let's talk about becoming. Let's talk about awakening. We both have such different stories. And so what we figured is we're going to go back and forth kind of with questions and both answering. And hopefully I know that we're going to dig out some really good nuggets that's hopefully going to be entertaining for you, but also insightful. Yeah? So where should we start? Let's start with you.
Okay.
Because people know a bit of my story, but I don't think I've gone that depth into my story. Well, I mean, you've listened to okay, so one more thing, guys. Kimberly had been listening to my podcast for like a year before we met. So great thing is like when we met, she already knew me.
Yeah.
And she knew the real me, because we hadn't met in person for me to people please her and me to chameleon to whatever I think this person wants of me.
Yeah.
So it was really cool that I actually get to be myself with her and she gets to be herself with me.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I agree.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kimberly, what was your life like before waking up? And so guys, when we talk waking up, I mean, we've all had many levels of spiritual awakening, right? So, but right, I hope that everybody right now is like waking up to like Matrix, everything biggest picture waking up, right? But what was your world like before awakening? When did you awaken?
So for me, I've always, like we said, I've always been a seeker, personal growth kind of person. I'm Aries, like right on the cusp, March 21st. So yeah, Aries. And I mean, just to be blunt, like I wasn't very adept in the political realm. However, I would say I was a straight up Democrat.
Yeah, right?
Straight up. Like if you didn't vote for whoever, didn't matter, just as long as they were Democrat. If you didn't vote for that person, you hated humanity, you hated women. I mean, could I have been more of a bigot? I don't know.
And let's go back to like last March. So pandemic is starting.
Right.
Pandemic is starting. And one of my colonic clients
Yes.
tells Kimberly about my podcast.
So
and she thinks she's going to get colonic advice.
Well, I see this post and I'm like, oh, poo. Yeah. I want to get a colonic. I need to get a colonic. And
so at this point, though, it's March, pandemic is just starting, and you also admittedly strongly have Trump derangement syndrome.
it was probably January, actually.
January?
Yeah. It was
Okay.
before.
Girl came to me in February to meet me.
So then it was in February.
Okay.
So it was the day she left your house.
Oh, okay. Okay, fun.
So she posted on her story.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to go check this out because I want a colonic.
Yeah.
Because it had been a long, long time. And I clicked on Ivy's story and I said, do people know she's saying this?
Because as soon as I start hearing that the coronavirus is coming, right? And because we're putting this up on YouTube, everybody, like, we need you to read between the lines. We can't be verbally saying any, so pretend I didn't just say that word, but we can't be verbally
Bleep.
saying anything that might get us, I don't think I can even say the word censored. Censored. So
Signored.
so just roll with the words that we have to put in instead, but I'm sure that y'all are waking up to that now. So I go
Well,
on.
that's something to get used to, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
But now lots of people are waking up to the censorship. It's not just
Yeah.
us badasses
Yeah,
that
yeah,
have been around for
yeah,
a bit.
yeah, yeah.
So anyway, so as soon as all this starts happening, I start actually posting real news because at that point I'm like, I know what's happening in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over the colonics bit. Like, I could talk to people about poop right now, or I could talk to people about what actually matters. So screw the colonics. We're talking about the world now, right?
Oh, yeah.
So she starts seeing the crazy shit I'm posting.
Oh,
By
yeah.
crazy shit, I mean real shit.
Yeah. And then I was just like, wait a minute. First I thought, okay, there's people that go to my yoga studio that follow her. Do they know what she's saying? And then hashtag. So I just started following different things. Every night and every morning I would be like, okay, let's see what Ivy has to say today. I mean,
Yeah.
I got to that point where I could not stop looking at your story because I was just
Yeah.
pulling
And
it
I'm
all in.
uploading over 100 stories a day. I'm doing the max. There's a lot of information.
Oh, yeah, there was a ton. So, and then click here, click there, click here, click there. But, I was like, there's no way. And then something just like clicked in me that's like, this is plausible. This is plausible. And mainly what I saw that really pulled me in was the child trafficking.
Yeah.
And then it was the stuff about Mr. T being
Secretly a good guy?
secretly a good guy. And I was like, wait a minute. What I've seen and what is actually out there that he's doing is completely different. So when
Yeah.
I realized I was being fed something else, like I've never seen him say that, like, or they take like the little clip.
Yeah.
And then they build some sort of context around this little clip. But then when you watch the whole speech, it's nothing like that.
No.
And so I was like, this is plausible. And so I started telling people about that even.
Like, what do you mean by telling people? Kind of being like, he might not be as racist as we think he is.
Mostly what I started speaking about was participants higher up hurting children.
So that was the thing that grabbed you.
Right.
Was the children stuff, right?
Right.
Because like if you're a person that can empathize with that, to me and to you, right, as soon as you hear about the children bit, it's like, wait.
Yeah.
It's like okay to everything else, all the other crazy stuff, all the other conspiracy, all the other stuff. But it's like when it comes to the children, it's like stop the music. What? The
Right.
kids.
Right.
Right? Like that makes you have to question further if you're a decent human being and an adult.
I mean, yeah, to me.
Yeah.
So then, glory be, there's hashtags. So then you start following these hashtags and it's leading you. And then I'm like, I don't want to know this stuff. And then I'm led to this website and this website. And I'm like, can I just pretend like none of this is happening? Well, as I'm telling people about this, because to me it's plausible, even if it's not true yet in my head, it's plausible. So then a tornado hits my house.
Oh yeah, so get this, guys. So we're in Tennessee, end of March, literally
April 12th.
April 12th. I thought it was end of March. Okay, so literally
Yep.
her house gets destroyed.
Destroyed.
Like you're naked in the basement, you go upstairs, your house is gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my son goes, my son goes, it's because you're looking at all that conspiracy theory stuff.
Goodness.
And I said, well, maybe it is. Who knows? But nonetheless, after that, I had to live in this other house. Well, it was just like, I could not stop absorbing information, buying books. Like one book that really did it for me was Transformation of America, Kathy O'Brien's story.
Okay.
But then when you take what you learn about this and being lied to about Mr. T and children, and then you find out, which is what happened with you, then you find out about fluoride and
9/11 and this and this and this.
What's in the air, what's in our food, what's in our water,
And what's in the injections, any of the injections, what's in any of the anythings.
Then it's like, how can you say that they are for us, that the government is for us, that if that stuff is happening, if we're being fed poison, et cetera, even in our minds, then that to me tied it all together. It was like, if you're going to do that to me, then you're probably doing this to them.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Once you start actually recognizing those things, right? Okay, so for your life, pre-waking up, it's like you were already a spiritual person. You were already on the spiritual path of awakening. You were already many years deep into the personal work of becoming better versions of ourselves. But from a spiritual context still, right? Mm-hmm. But still within that paradigm of light and love and light and love and light and love, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because, right, there's a lot of distortion within New Age, within spirituality, within all of that. Which, I mean, I'm sure going to do episodes on that. We'll get in all that stuff. Sure. But, you were in that place of spiritual and self-growth. Also of, I'm a Democrat, hardcore, only vote Democrat, no questions. Mr. T is a bigot. He's a racist. He's probably a pedophile. He's horrible in all ways. He hates women. He hates children. He hates America. Like, whatever, right? Okay. And then, so you had a really quick spin. You had a really fast spin.
Yeah, it was just like piled on me really quickly because too, I can handle it.
Yes, yes.
But I just want to insert this too. In my searching, I've been extremely religious, extremely atheist. I've done the full spectrum, but I remember watching the movie The Matrix and going, well, how the hell do we know that's not true? How do we know that's not true? Because they don't know.
Like in 99 when you first saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, yeah.
So in 99 you were already like,
Mm-hmm. So that movie like made me question reality. And then the next movie was Stigmata.
Okay.
And that's, where she has the stigmata. And at the end, she channels Jesus and says, I am the trees, I am the rocks. And that then opened my eyes to just the unity and the divinity and the oneness of everything. But very important to note that in my walk, my spiritual walk, my self-development, I would not accept the fact that there was good and evil.
So this is still like part of the false light situation
right.
on the planet and the distortion in the light. It's because it's like, no, it's only good, it's only love, it's only light.
Or it's only my own judgment.
Oh.
So if it's bad, it's because I'm judging it to be bad. It is what it is.
And it's just how you're labeling perception.
Yeah, my interpretation of it is what makes it bad, wrong, whatever. So waking up to light and dark was a big thing for me. Big. Just that there could be evil even. Mm-hmm. I didn't believe in God and Satan. Mm-mm. No, everything is as it is and as it should be. It's not.
No, and that's a hard thing to awaken to, right?
That's the whole thing. Is like that's what keeps you asleep. Because if everything is as it should be, then there's nothing to do. I'm sorry, but there is something to do.
There's lots of things to do now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So with you already being awake, and then it was really like last year that like woke you up.
Oh, yeah. And when the big ball with the spikes came out,
Oh, yeah.
That's what my grandson calls it, the big ball with spikes. He goes, it's a big ball with spikes. It's real.
Oh, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Because it's a ball with spikes. It's
Right.
a thing that exists. Okay.
So when that came out, I was terrified too. Like I was just like, you know, having an immunocompromised grandson. So I was just like, stay away from me. I had a bullhorn. I had a whistle. If my employees got close to each other, I was like, mm-mm.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
I never told you that.
No. Okay.
Oh yeah, it was crazy until after the tornado.
Okay.
So the first, 6 weeks of I didn't know that.
Yeah, you would have been on the fear wagon with it.
Yeah, I was on the
right?
fear wagon big time.
Okay.
Even though I was awakening over here and we'll say like the political spectrum, the what's going on behind the scenes spectrum.
But we weren't tying that into the ball with the spikes.
No, I was like, wow.
Like two separate things happening. There's the political darkness, the children, and then there's also
this ball with spikes.
Illness, the spiky ball.
The spiky ball.
Okay.
And I was just so scared of that. And then, but never put two and two together. It's wild. It's wild. It's such a phased thing for me to be led, by spirit down this path of, okay, now this is new information. And if you're open to it, it just comes in and it downloads well. I mean, like I've been able to ingest it pretty well. But also because I've had a lot of nervous system tics with tornadoes and other things, I also am a little bit distant from some of the stuff.
Yeah.
So I can observe it. I haven't fully integrated all the stuff.
But you work well at observing from a place of neutrality, which is like that's what we all got to do right now, even if we're not able to dive deep into the emotion of it and stuff, which is okay. Which is okay right now, because we can't push ourselves into a place that's not healthy for us, right? Because we still we've been on a long road now with this, and it's like we still have years to work through. Okay, so really, for me, it's remarkable how quickly you woke up to all of this. But also, I think that all of your years doing everything that you've done, self-help wise, you've spent 18 months training in hypnotherapy. So you already know the way that vocabulary works.
Yes.
The way that, right? So I think that this is a really big piece for you, is that once you started seeing the media for what it was, seeing how Mr. T is continually only taken out of context and never just show us everything that he's saying instead of a clip plus telling me what he's saying. Just show me.
And that's what they do with most everybody.
Oh, exactly. But then
unless it plays to their favor.
True. But then you could start actually probably really, really clearly seeing all the manipulation.
Oh,
right?
I tell you.
Because they use hypnotic techniques.
Yes.
They do what you were already learning.
Yes. So having that background, I listen to NPR, and once I knew, I listen to NPR and I go, oh my gosh, are you serious? I mean, how much are they toying with people's, first of all, you're in the highly suggestible state when you're in your automobile or in front of the television, period. I mean, the most suggestible states, unless you're being induced. When you're being induced when you're in your car and when you're in front of a television.
What's
period.
being induced for people?
A hypnotic state, a suggestive state.
Yes. And so that's basically where our brain waves are working in a way that will allow the brain to be programmed, basically, right?
Manipulation 101. And so I'd listen to NPR and I was just like, oh my gosh, I mean, how the manipulation was just completely and utterly obvious.
But you didn't see it before.
No, before I was like, yeah, damn it. Yeah, damn it, he's a pig or whatever. And then I was like, are you kidding me right now? And even in hindsight, seeing and remembering how evoking some stories were, stories about bombing, stories about other countries and stuff, and just how evoking they were, knowing now that some of that was put in place to take my attention elsewhere. Yeah. And that is just threaded throughout all of it. Distraction.
Don't look here, look over here, and look over here, and look over here, and keep being afraid. Oh, you're not afraid enough. Here's some stress, and here's some more fear. right? Oh, you're not, you're not experiencing lack enough. Here's this worry, or right? It's nonstop. Yeah.
Gosh, and oh my gosh, I can't wait till we start talking about all that stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Okay, so much. Okay, so back to
Ugh.
our awakening.
Ugh.
Anything else that's noteworthy about where you were at with awakening when you started waking up to the stuff?
Well, one thing about me is if I learn something, everybody else around me learns it too. That's just how I operate in everything. I don't care if it was CrossFit, yoga, Mr.
She's
T,
forceful
whatever.
in a very graceful way.
And I mean, I work in retail. I have 35 employees. So, I mean, I'm in a very influential position, but I don't take I take advantage of it in a way, but I mean, I trickle it down. So when I convey this information to them, I literally have said to them, as far as awakening, as far as, taking that red pill, right, is now you are also responsible for this information. So that to me is really important. But I learned something and it comes out. I learned something about water, it comes out. I learned something about hearts, it comes out. I learned something about poop, it comes out. Yeah. It just, that is the way I have always been. I'm reading this book, you need to know everything about it. I do that with you even.
But I love it. But it also saves me time.
Look at this. That's just, I've always been that way. And I get very passionate about things. Yeah. And so here I am now, being passionate about loving people through this and talking about our story and
absolutely,
and telling the truth.
Right. Doesn't it come down to that?
Like the truth
Seeking
with a
truth.
capital T.
Yes.
Not the truth.
No.
The truth.
Heck, it's all caps. Truth,
Yeah,
right?
For real.
Yeah. No, truly though. Yeah, waking up is waking up. It's something that, like, do we know when waking up stops? No, it doesn't. Like, it has to be something that's continually mid-progress, right? Because it is actually the expansion of consciousness. It is so much, waking up is so much more than we know, right? Waking up at this stage is understanding that, okay, we're humans in third dimensional reality. We are probably eternal souls, yet again, like many, many, many times before, in a human body, doing this human thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a place where we know that we're moving to 5D, 6D, 7D. We know that we're in a dimensional shift. We know that we're in a place of consciousness expansion, of cooperation and community and compassion and aligning with natural law and universal law. Like, we know that what we're going through right now is biblical. Even if we don't understand that in all contexts, we know that biblical.
And so, and Earth is going through the same thing we're going through.
Yes.
And when you hear that Earth is doing the same thing we're doing and expanding too, and the expansion is exponential. It doesn't. There's no wall to this.
No.
It's like dun 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 dun. There's no wall. There's no wall. There's no wall to this.
There's
love,
no end.
No, and love. There's no wall. There's no ceiling to waking up. There's no ceiling to expanding your consciousness. It's like the more you open up, the more will get poured in. Mm-hmm. And the more that gets poured in, it's just like it's almost like your brain is just getting gianter.
Yeah.
Even though it isn't, but it is. And your heart, exactly. I'm super grateful. I'm just so grateful that I am one of the ones that got to wake up at the time that I got to wake up. Now, your wake up was way, way, way earlier.
Yeah, my wake up was a bit ago.
It was a while ago.
Yeah. Well, for me, I mean, I remember being a child. And I mean, I'm sure in next episodes or like in one day episodes, we're going to talk about childhood more and talk about the child in us and all of that beauty. But for me, I remember being like a young girl and being like, Mom, I'm going to save the world. Mm. And not like superhero save the world, but from like a meek, very sweet, light-filled little quiet girl being like, Mom, I know I'm supposed to save the world. And what I was told was, honey, you're just one little girl. You can't do that. Mm. So, there were some limiting beliefs from a young age. Mm-hmm. But I remember like when I was 19 in university, that someone had gifted me Louise Hay, How to Heal Your Life. And my chiropractor at the time, I would go to her for muscle testing for foods and everything, applied kinesiology. So she would do the muscle testings for things. And she would always be like, you're different though. She'd have to get out her binder that had all of the Louise Hay affirmations that are paired with illnesses and stuff and symptoms in the back of the book. And she'd always have to pull out this binder and muscle test on me energetically to remedy like belief statements that are inverted in me, you know? So instead of just working with the food, she'd always work with me on my beliefs and like much, much deeper that, you know, so I started having those experiences. And so I started waking up to more holistic things and more natural things. And so that's probably like 2005, 2006, 2007. And then in 2008, and my dad always had a distiller. You know, when I was growing up, it's like we always had a distiller in the house for some reason because my dad always said that there were crazy things in the tap water, and I just went with it. But then when 2008 came, and I remember I bought my first distiller, and that's when I started really, really understanding fluoride. And so when I started learning about fluoride, and I started actually realizing that, oh, Hitler decided that this was a good social program. Oh, this is actually a component of rat poison. Oh, this stuff actually poisons the human body. The dentists say it's really good for your teeth. Why am I drinking it and not just putting it on my teeth? Why am I filtering it through my organ system instead of just putting it on my teeth? So I started asking those harder questions of like, you know, I was just starting to think. And also like I was in university for research psychology. I was doing statistics. I was doing like sociology. I was doing a lot of like pathology, childhood development. And so like I was learning how to think critically in school, especially like the research psychology always really paid off because you look at things just in black and white and have to think so clearly. And so just starting to think through like, they're putting poison in the water. That's actually poison. Why is the poison in the people's water? You know, you bring up studies of like children's teeth that have they call it, I think, overfluoridosis. And it's where your teeth actually start getting like these white marks and things on them. And it's actually from the fluoride. And it's like, wait, why are the dentists saying this? Why are the doctors doing this? Why is this stuff happening? Because Hitler, supposedly, from what I'm reading, put this in the water in you know, prison or concentration camp or whatever to make people more docile, to make them accept this tyranny, to make all this. Then, you know, when I started learning about that, I was just like, why are we doing this? Why aren't we all talking about this? Why is this still a thing? Like, did you know this? What the fuck? Okay, there's going to be F-bombs sometimes in this when they're strategically placed. So when I started learning about like, oh my God, what are they actually doing to us? And so I'm working a corporate job at this point, and I'm spending most of my days on the computer because I can do my job well, just like you do your job well. It's like I can work a very small amount at my actual job and get it done. And the rest of the time, I'm going to learn about American politics. Oh, but you didn't drop.
Don't tell anybody that.
Oh, shoot.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so I start just like learning about this stuff, and I'm on MSNBC, and now I'm working for corporate General Electric. I'm doing credit card services for American clients and stuff, and I'm on MSNBC watching American news every single day. Like I remember some of the major murders and stuff that were happening there. Like Saddam Hussein was hung. I remember watching that. He was decapitated when he was hung. I don't know if anybody needed to know that. I'm so sorry. Sorry, where I'm going with this is that I started learning about all of the things that I could. And when I came across 9/11, so this was like 2009, so that's only 8 years after it happened, I started coming across so much information, like the architects and engineers for 9/11. You start reading accounts of like, 10,000 architects and engineers saying, this story is absolutely impossible. That is a controlled demolition. It fell exactly into its footprint. There's thermite residue everywhere. The floors that blew up, they had maintenance in them on certain days. You know, the I-beams were cut with thermite. They're at perfect 45-degree angles. That, you know, building 7 came down. It wasn't hit with anything. It just had a fire in it. And that's also where all the IRS documents were. Like when you start just looking at all these things, it became so clear that it's an inside job, you know, whether who on the inside did whatever and for whatever purpose. You know, none of us are absolutely clear, but we all have a lot of idea, a lot of very, very plausible and evidence-based theory. But that was just the first stuff. The fluoride for me and 9/11 being like, holy shit, the American government just did that to its people. You know, I was in Canada during 9/11, but I remember watching it on television. You know, I was only in like grade 7, but just like learning about what had happened. And it's like, if the government is going to murder that many of its citizens to immediately the next day go to war in another country that is not deserving of that war. For me, like 9/11 was just the thing that I was like, I don't trust any of y'all anymore, you know? So for me, that was still like very much in my corporate life, but I always question things, you know? But I was, you know, I used to take all the pharmaceuticals. I used to be such a good patient, always at the doctor, all of that. But then once it was like, my doctor did not want me to get off of my antidepressants that I was on for 2 years. My doctor did not want me to get off of my birth control that he put me on when I was like 15 for my skin. You know, he told me, I was like, I remember going to the doctor and being like, I don't want these things anymore. And he's like, obviously you need them. And that was just the point. And that was the doctor that I had since I was born. Like, he took me out of my mom. And I was like, I never went back to him again, because it was like, I told you what is right for me, and you just told me what I need. And so now, like, in my life, there's been a good number of times where anytime that I have somebody external to myself saying, this is what you need, for me, that's always like my biggest red flag, that I'm like, fuck it, nope. Sorry, buddy, but that was the last thing that you should have said, because now I see your intentions, or I see your motives, you know? So yeah, for me, it was just really starting to see those things, and then being like, okay, I'm not doing the doctor route anymore. I'm going to my naturopath. And I went to my naturopath, like whatever, you know, every 30, 60, 90 days, whatever you needed to do at that time. You know, eventually I ended up dropping out of university, which at the time was such a hard thing, like the guilt, or no, really the shame. You know what I mean? Like, oh God, I'm a university dropout. Oh my God, I'm starting a cleaning company, you know? And then luckily, like, yoga found me. And then that took me on, that's when all the certifications began, you know? That really started opening me up, just how, you know, you became a self-help junkie, a certification junkie, in the most sacred use of the term junkie. And so for myself, that led to yoga, and then more yoga, and then more yoga, and then iridology and colon hydrotherapy and breath work and holistic nutrition. And, you know, just like you, it's like the things just, it's just like, oh my God, now I need to learn this, and now I need to learn this, and now I need to learn this.
It's like layers upon layers.
Yes, because each layer that you learn, they all interact with each other differently. And it creates such it's a well-rounded practitionership when you learn a lot of stuff from a lot of different angles. And in this like years of just seeking and seeking and seeking knowledge, and although it's seeking knowledge outside of ourselves, but it's like all of that seeking knowledge outside of ourselves is to learn inside of ourselves and learn discernment, and then to cultivate these skills, so that now in the days that we're in, you know, we just spent the last decade acquiring all the skills that we need to navigate this, but then also hold space for each other. Yeah. So when you were learning all of the things, was it like that with me, where it's like, I'm going to have to help people with this one day, learn this thing? Is that what it was like? Plus, I'm trying to help myself and heal myself.
Yeah. I mean, my ultimate intention was always to help other people. Without realizing it, I was upgrading myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a beautiful journey, but not easy. Not easy. No. So I guess, so that's what kind of like woke me up to like the bigger picture of like, stuff is not what it seems. And I was 12 when I saw The Matrix the first time. I wanted to go see the Dalmatian movie that also came out right then. I was like 101 Dalmatians, and my dad was like, no, we're going to The Matrix. And I'm like 12-year-old girl, and I'm like, you know? But then I was like, what? But I never made the connection. I just thought that it was a movie, you know? So it was like later in life, but especially after like ayahuasca in Peru in 2011, like took the top off. Because that was my first psychedelic experience, and it was very in-depth and deep in the jungle. And we'll unpack that another day. But then with all of this stuff that's going on, do you know what I mean? Like, I woke up to like some of the conspiracy back, you know, 12 years ago. But then this stuff, end of 2017, when can I say the 17th letter of the alphabet? We're just going to call the 17th letter 17 in this podcast. So when 17 started posting, that of course came across my radar by the beginning of January of 2018. So just from that point, when I started seeing 17's post, I was just like, what? And it just pulled me in the way of like, just the way that it gets you thinking and questioning. And not something telling me what to think, because as soon as something tells me what to think, I'm going to be like, see ya. But just the way that it gets you just thinking in like a very scientific method. And so really like it became all day, every day, I'm checking for another 17 drop. I'm checking, you know, and
like
then,
I was doing with yours.
yeah, exactly. Because you're like, oh, what's Ivy going to post today? We're always like, what's 17? When 17's been dark for 4 days, 17's been dark for 30 days, you know, and it became very much like there weren't a lot of us, but we would still like connect and find each other. But it was still such a small friend base. And it was so amazing to just, you know, I had 3 years before like you and most people started waking up to that stuff, like when the spiky ball came. I was already like 3 years into daily researching the 17 material, and so I had like a well-formed basis, I think, what this reality is in my head. But it was also very lonely, you know, because like who could I talk to about it, you know? It's like I'm flushing shit out of people as my day job, and then as soon as everybody leaves, you know, I'm like, oh my God, what is happening in the world? You know, so I really felt like I was living like 2 lives, really, until the spiky ball came. And then I could actually start speaking about this stuff. And then it's like community starts growing. But it was really, honestly, it was really lonely for like a lot of years. Yeah, so it's different, but good. I don't know what would be better, to wake up earlier or later, you know, because you had more years of normal life than I would have. You know, I feel a bit like fatigued at this stage of awakening.
Right, which I've noticed in other people as well, that have been in your realm, that are like, come on now, come on. Like, where's full disclosure? Where's this? Where's that? But I'm still, I mean, I want that too, but I'm still such a newbie in it that, you know, I mean, I run the gambit of pissed off, freaked out, let me just close my eyes and pretend it's not happening, to, you know, there's an excitement about it too, because it's like, this is all being revealed, and you can, it's like you can take your power back when you know that you let yourself get sucked into this pretend thing, and now you're in charge. And so what can I learn now so that I can be more in charge of my life and charge my life up more? So yeah, I mean, I think I'm probably in the boat with most people, whereas you don't have as many, there's not as many people that are, only in my mind, I don't know if this is true, but you know, there's not as many people that were awake earlier on as there are now, obviously, because now it's like bam, 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 bam. Like I honestly can't understand how people don't know, but then at the same time, I can totally understand, because I was there.
Yeah.
Because
you didn't know until, 14 months ago?
Right. And I was like, so I can have compassion for people that don't. I mean, I have a family of people that don't, you know, that see things completely different to me, and or don't engage. And there will be a time where you can't not engage, I imagine. Well, there would need to be, but yeah. So being new, you know, you're like you're a sponge for information, a sponge, and then the faster you get, the deeper you get, the faster you go deeper.
Safely, safely within our own consciousness.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's really empowering, honestly. Yeah, and also, it's concerning. I mean, it's just like concerning that it's like there's something to be done. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Like, I have that too.
Yeah, but it also is kind of like, hurry up to keep waiting.
Yeah.
You know, there's also that part that I kind of sometimes feel very ungrounded, like in the fog of war, especially like when I've been at this part of it for so long, you know, and we're both very much like sponges, but I feel like my sponge time is kind of like stopped a bit, you know, and it's more so like go inside time, because it's almost like like I said, like there's a bit of fatigue with it, because like it's an everyday thing for so many years now that almost it's like, I feel like, especially with the 17 material, like I held that baton. How does that saying go? You're in a relay race. Is it a baton that I'm holding, or a mallet?
No, it's not a mallet.
Okay, so it's a baton. Okay.
Maybe we need you to hold a mallet, but
okay.
It's a baton.
Okay, so like I feel like I've been holding that baton for such a long time, and now I get to like, for all the people that are awakening, like over this last year, I've got to like this baton is heavy, like, like pass it on so that now I can step into the next level of me holding space in the next way, you know? So, and that's kind of like, I haven't wanted to let go of that baton because, do you know what I mean?
Oh, I understand. And with that being said too, it's like, for depending on the rapidness of a wake up, because for me, I'm already at that point where I'm like, okay, I want to know what's happening, but also I know it's time to go in here too and deal with how I'm talking, how I'm being, and what can I unpeel so that I can be the biggest badassery, light bearing biatch out there.
Because sharing information, spreading information, helping people wake up, helping people see clearly and discern, that's the most important work. And also the most important work is doing all of the energetic work inside, because we understand that we are in like a holographic universe, whatever this universe is, and that right as is above is so below, and that for us to really change this world, we know that it energetically has to be inside of ourselves, also as all this darkness around us is being dismantled. But like that internal work for us to get to 5D, 60, 70 versions of us, and for us to get to like 5D, 60, 70 Earth takes us becoming those next versions of ourselves. It's not like Earth upgrades and we're just like, boop, here we are. It's like, no, there's work.
No,
there's a whack.
There's work. There's work, and you have to get uncomfortable. And this is all uncomfortable, but it's required of you to get out of your comfort zone. I mean, everybody knows that if you're in the self-help kind of thing, you know, it's always like, there's no growth in your comfort zone. Well, that's the truest of true things. It's so true that you have to like get icky and real and snot on things and cry on things, you know,
but it's the easier way, because like things are shifting so much that how can we have a comfort zone anymore, you know?
Like, what I guess, is that even?
I don't know.
I mean, now for me and for you, it's like, what is that even like now?
Oh, there's no comfort. Okay, so let's talk about maybe what current emotions of being an awake, aware, pretty conscious person in these times. Like, right, we're people that we've invested a lot to work on ourselves. We've invested a lot to train ourselves, to grow ourselves, everything. And it's like still, you know, being a human in this is mighty uncomfortable. Like, I feel... And part of why, guys, I've been like so quiet for such a long time now is because there's so much moving inside of me, and I feel like energetically my biggest responsibility, like from a soul level right now, is like maintaining my own peace and stability, but like from a place of like working with the grid. Like for me as an acupuncture point on the planet, it's like I know that I have to be in my strength and stability. And there hasn't been a lot of podcast episodes in these last months because I've been feeling like as soon as I open my mouth, there is so much that wants to come out. And some of it is in like a screaming cry of terror. Some of it is in deep sobs from like the bottom of my bones. You know, like there's just so many different feelings and there's so much to feel and transmute right now. That like verbally doing it alone is challenging. There's transient passing fear and terror and anxiety and paranoia. There's tremendous hopefulness. There's a lot of like, I feel like recalibrating the past. Like I feel like I just do like a lot of grid work, a lot of energy work all the time right now. But there's a lot of really heavy, like there's a lot of despair. There's a lot of feeling for the children, there's just, for me anyways, there's just so much feeling. There's so much feeling. And it's so uncomfortable. And I gain peace when I'm going to bed at night and I'm quiet and I'm slow for a long amount of time and I'm moving very slow and I'm very silent and I utilize my plant medicine, and that is where I find my peace. So I go there to be in peace. But that's pretty much it these days. How about for you? You know, like it's because we're in wild times that our degree of humanity has not existed in yet. How about for you? What you feel?
Yeah,
And there's sacredness in all of those scary feelings too. Like feeling them is not bad. It's like it's in the collective. Like, you know, it's not like you're not doing the spiritual work if you're picking up and transmuting some of this darker, heavier stuff, you know? Like it is okay to feel it.
Yeah. Feeling is something that I just don't like. I don't like to feel things, you know? So that in and of itself is work for me, like going into the feels of something. So, I mean, for my peace, a lot of times it's just, it's like learning something new, and not something new that's out like in the news, but it's like, what can I gift myself? Okay. So I do a lot of gift. That's why I read so much. It's like a gift to myself. Like when I learn something new, it gets me excited, and then I can teach somebody. So that's kind of like what keeps me going. And then all the other stuff, I'm still working through all that, you know? I'm still working on letting myself have the feelings of everything that's going on. Right before the tornado, I had when I was reading about the children, I put a Post-it note on my window. My mirror that said, "You're gonna have to let stuff in. Stop pretending it's not happening."
Oh,
so I knew I had to let stuff in. And I'm still working on that because it is uncomfortable, and learning to be okay with that physical sensation of fear, paranoia, despair, hope, all the things, love, all the things, sadness, grief, learning to sit in those emotions and not distract myself in some way, you know, not go to my phone and give myself something, you know, to look at or whatever. So really like allowing myself to feel, and it's truly a trickle right now. Now I feel like the floodgates are about to open because here we go.
Well, now that we're doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
Because here we go.
Well, and also like for me with the feels, like if I started, when we say like waking up to this part of the reality, the very distasteful, very everything is a lie. Like I've had probably maybe 900 more nights to sit with that information. You know what I mean? 900 more nights to contemplate and just stare at the wall and be like, what? You know? So it takes time.
It does take time.
Yeah.
And it's important to find people that you can sound off to and be heard and go through it with, in my opinion. And there's so many people out there right now. It's almost like when I think about being on Instagram, say. Yeah. I remember in The Matrix, probably the second or third one, where all of a sudden then you see more spaceships or underground ships and stuff. And then I was like, this is like another underground hub, and this is like another underground hub. And like how we're all kind of linked together.
Yes.
It's so neat.
It is like that, isn't it? Now that, you know, we've got a lot of different places to find all of our friends now, our awakened friends. That's such a good way. I don't really remember the second and third one.
I barely do, but I just remember like there's more people than these people in this ship. And then there's a whole city of people together thinking and doing and helping and loving and dancing and all the things and getting uncomfortable with each other and fighting the darkness.
Yeah. So for you, what's been the hardest parts of waking up so far? Whether it's like tiny components or certain stages or...
I think the hardest thing for me is that I am alone in this in my family. I mean, I do have some family that knows, and even knows a hell of a lot more than I do. But when it comes to my immediate family, there's, you know, it's like I can't always go there. I can't bring that information forward fully. That's the hardest part for me. Just having to not be in my truth completely when it comes to my people. And then just seeing what's happening and their buy-in. Anybody's, not just my family, you know, but just people's buy-in to the bullshit and the stuckedness. That's the hardest thing for me to watch. And then the hardest thing for me personally is just like going all the way in, really.
Yeah.
It'll come.
It'll come.
It'll come.
It's already coming.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hardest part for me is. Like, me being away from my family for 2 years now, like, is that even, that's not really like part of awakening. It's just that happens to be my personal situation. But I think for me, the hardest part is probably feeling like, I felt very alone, and like I said. And now, we've got such online community, but not a lot of in-person community.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know what the word is. Like, it's hard, but to be able to go with these truths to people and like, I feel like the people that know me, like my family, my friends and stuff like that, they know that like Ivy's not going to say something unless like she really looked into it and she found some facts.
Right.
Like Ivy isn't somebody that, like it's like these people know me. They know me. They know that I have been so nerdy my whole life, that I have just sought information. And yeah, I go against the grain or whatever, and I've been totally okay to be the black sheep. Like, sure, I like it now, but to be able to come with information to people, and especially like the children, and to speak to another adult and them not be like, wait, what did you say is happening to children? How do you know this? Are you sure you're right? Tell me more so I can explore that. So to me, that's a normal reaction from a human, because it's like, you tell me something is happening to children, that is the most horrible thing ever. And I'm not going to be like, yeah, well, I hate Mr. T, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to be like, what did you say is happening to children?
Right.
And so like everything is so dark, but to be so not heard. And it's not about me being heard, but I guess like for me to share with somebody that it's like literally the most sacred part of human existence is having the most horrendous things possible happen. And then just to be met with a distraction or whatever. Like, I guess that's hard on my heart for humanity, that where are the good people? And for me, a good person means when you know about something, you stand up, period. Like I grew up fighting for the underdog. And now it's like, there's so many little underdogs. How are we not all just uniting? So I guess, I mean, is that what's hard? Like, how do I say, like, that's hard on me, that other people are not as empathetic, and compassionate?
Well,
because I'm not trying to judge anything.
Right.
But, like, I guess my soul is always surprised when it's like, oh, humanity's at that state where we can hear about this, and I'm going to keep shopping on Wayfair on my phone or whatever.
Well, what I've heard is, it's always been that way. It's all
so
that
doesn't make it okay.
Exactly.
Everybody. Holy shit, that's no excuse. Wake up.
I mean, those people have always done that to kids, or this has always happened. So we just let it keep going. Never mind, then I'll just let it go. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's always been that way. I didn't know, and now I'm enraged.
And now that's always going to be the thing on my mind, because how can it not be?
You can't unknow.
You can't, exactly.
I mean, every time you learn something, you don't unknow it.
No. So that's, to me, probably the hardest thing, is like actually digesting these truths. And in digesting these truths, there is deep sorrow. There's just the deepest sorrow possible, in a way that it can never be redeemed. It can never, it's like there's so much healing to happen within the grid of the earth, within the souls of the people, with, that I see that we've got a really long road ahead. But if it's taken us 26,000 years supposedly through darkness to get to this place, and we're in the years, right, like literally in the year that everything is overturning right now, and we need to find all the darkness that's underneath every single nook and cranny. Right? We cannot leave any rock unturned. So if this is what it takes, if this is this slow, uncomfortable, horrible process of witnessing darkness, it's like, guys, do we want to stop unearthing this darkness and revealing it before we get all of it? It's like, no. It's
well,
like,
I mean, you wouldn't do that with a sickness, like a cancer. Even
with like when I used to clean houses, it's like you got to pick the stuff up off the counter and wipe underneath it and wipe on top of it.
Right.
It's like you got to get in there. You got to get everything. If not, it's not clean.
Yeah. Well, and that's some impeccability stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, like dig.
Yes.
Dig.
So, yeah, there's definitely hard parts. I wonder for you guys listening, and if y'all are watching on YouTube, what's the hardest part for you waking up? And share with us also, like, how long
Yeah.
have you been awake for? When did you wake up to this stage of it?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing at this stage of it? Are you freshly awakened to it? We love you. Thank you for your awakening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like definitely like in the comments, please share whatever your heart wants to share, because we want to not just have people watching us and listening to us. We want to create conversations. We want to create questions. We want to get everybody thinking, and we want to ascend together. That's what this is about.
Ultimately,
You know?
isn't it?
Truly.
Yeah.
So what about for you, for your the best parts of this awakening process? And let's call it the awakening process of like since this matrix. Like not just the spiritual awakening, but like this last year since you're like, holy man, this is the reality. What?
It really is just for me, just like the knowing how powerful I truly am. And how, you know, learning that you were told that you weren't powerful and that you had all that bullshit was ingrained in you, programmed into you, you know, and not just me as a daughter, as a mother, whatever, but like, I mean, it's down the line. This has like been going on for a very, very long time. And then when you find out that was all just a bunch of crap fed to you.
We've been groomed.
Yeah.
We've all been groomed.
We've been groomed. So when for me, when I learned that, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. That's not who I am. This is who I am.
Right.
I am, you know, this is who I am. And so therefore I can go into the world as basically a totally different human being from what I've always been taught.
Isn't that amazing? Mike dropped that.
It's empowering. And I know that might sound odd to somebody that it's an empowering thing to wake up, but it is, because we are the solution.
Not government. Not even the new form of government. Like we, the people, are the solution.
So
Yeah.
embrace that shit.
Oh, yeah. It's been most amazing for me to, I mean, number one, to recognize that this spiritual path that I've been preparing for, you know, for the last 10, 12 years. Because like in the yoga teacher training and all of these things, and in, you know, in the ancient prophecies and the Hopi prophecy, it's like we've been hearing these things for many decades now, that it's like this time on planet Earth is coming, and there's going to be this great shift, and the people, right, of all the tribes and all the colors are going to come together, and prophecies will be fulfilled, and, you know, the blue kachina in the sky, or, you know, whatever is going to happen. That I've just been like, you know, when some of these things started coming into my head, I was like, that stuff isn't going to happen in my lifetime.
Same.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I started realizing, like, no, this might happen in my lifetime. But I'm thinking I'm going to be 50, 60, 70. Like, it's far, far, far off. And then, like, when 17 started posting, that's when I was like, oh, shit, I'm in America. I just immigrated to America. I'm stuck in America, and we're going to war soon. I didn't think that it was going to be happening this fast, but to actually be in the years of this is the change. We are actually the ones living through the most momentous is that a word? Momentous times of history.
It is now, even if it isn't.
That, like, this is such sacred time to be aware and alive and just in a body here, even if I don't understand what's happening.
Right.
Even if I'm a little messy with whatever. Like, even if there's all the feels, it's like this time to be alive. And then when I'm on Instagram and I'm seeing the other mama bears and the papa bears, and I'm seeing the men stand up and take off their masks, and we're seeing men in their divine masculinity, and we're seeing, like, women in their power and in their sovereignty and in their grace and in their mama bearness. Like, when I see what our peers who are at kind of the same level of consciousness but also sacred fight in their heart. When I'm seeing these adults stand up, like there's nothing that lights my heart on fire like that. When I'm seeing like the videos of the moms and dads in the like the school board meetings, and they're throwing out the school board and they're they're all becoming the new or committees or whatever.
Yeah.
Like when I see that, oh my God. It's like we are the answer, we are the solution. And if we can understand this innate God-given power that is ours, it's like this ends when we say it ends, for whoever needs to hear that. And this is about anything in your life. Okay, so this whole thing that we're going through right now, but then also like whatever it is that you're struggling with, because we are all mid-process and we all have hang-ups to let go of right now. That Kimberly and I, we did breath work earlier today. And even for like my own situation and my skin, what came through so clearly was it stops when you say it stops. You know, it ends when I end it. So yeah, just to see people wake up to our power is splendid. It is exciting in the biggest of ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. How you doing? We're podcasting together for the first time.
I know.
It's also late at night, guys. It's been such a long day for us. And then
really has.
Setting things up like so many things to learn. But yeah.
That was I think that was a good end too.
Okay. Is there anything else that, like, for your journey of awakening that you feel noteworthy that you want to share or touch on?
No.
No?
I think I got it.
You're good.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
I think, yeah. The biggest thing I could say is when you open up to it, it will come to you, and it will come to you as you can take it in. And it will, if you just open up to it, you will be led to what you need to be led to in each stage or triggering event to wake you up. Because you set it all up before you came here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Discernment matters more than anything right now. You know, there's a lot of false things around, but I think for all of us, it's getting very, very clear to feel what is true and real and actually good and organic and what is not those things. Yeah, but it's an amazing journey of awakening, isn't it?
Yes.
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 Yes. And it's been amazing to have these last months with you. I don't even know when you and I started talking. Was it before the end of the year?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Like before Christmas.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, but this is
forever
this
ago.
This is going to be a really good thing. This is a really good thing. We hope that you all are enjoying this new podcast. We also, so shifting out of our stories of awakening. And if anybody, if you guys have any questions for us, you can put them in the comments, or you can find us on Instagram at Inspired Sovereignty. And all of our links are now in the show notes, so you can check out all of the things that we talked about at the beginning of the episode. Everything is in the show notes. I guess it's a late night. I'm getting tired. You're fading?
I'm fading.
Okay, you're fading. You've got this really quiet, very peaceful illumination about you. Oh, guys, and we got so much good stuff to share with you.
Oh my gosh.
We've been on a colonic journey together. We've got such good shit coming. Oh, and I'm so sorry when I laugh really loud into the microphone. I try not to.
I like when you do it.
So in our next episode, we'll be coming out next Monday. So every Monday, guys. I just want to say that I feel seriously so blessed to even just be able to hold whatever space that I can and to be doing this with you. And for all of the people that are all over the world that have been listening this far into the podcast, thank you from all of me. Thank you. It's such an interesting thing to just create conversations.
Yeah.
But soul needs us to do this for some reason. But expect to finally get a lot more of me, which I know y'all have probably wanted, but also now that we're an incredible team and we've got so much on our hearts to give. And so Kimberly, you'll be at your corporate job in 10 hours from now.
Yeah.
So we should get you home. But yeah, in 5 weeks, she becomes full-time with me. She's leaving a 31-year career.
Yep.
To dive fully into soul's calling.
Yep.
So for whoever needed a little bit of encouragement and to hear somebody's story of letting go of what is safe and what is what is safe, right? What is safe and what is comfortable and what you are used to and what is expected of you and what your friends and family expect of you. She's going to have amazing stories as she navigates this part of the journey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So amazing things coming. So much love to all of you. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And also, like, we're even taking requests if there's like any certain subjects that you guys would love us to do episodes on, because between the background of both of us, we cover a lot of ground. So we've got a lot of skills, a lot of resources to share. And we love you all a fuckload. So much. So how would you like to end this?
I don't even know.
Okay, well, good night.
I almost don't want to end it, but I'm like looking at the clock going, okay, I really should go to bed.
Okay.
And do things.
Well, we have a million bazillion conversations in different ways coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So,
oh, yeah. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so for everybody also, if you have not rated this podcast, if you can go into Apple Podcasts, give it a rating, even give it a review. That would be fantastic if you want to say whatever's true for you. You know, if you don't like this podcast, don't leave a review and don't listen to it anymore.
Stop listening.
I don't know why
right
some
now.
people like listen a bit and then give like a weird review. It's like, if it isn't your cup of tea, it's totally okay. Totally. But if this is your cup of tea and this is helpful for you in any way, or even past episodes, please share these episodes with somebody, or whatever social media you use. Please share it, not for our sake, for the person that you're sharing it with for their sake, truly, you know. Plus it'll help us grow and help access more people. But yeah, we're trying to do our part and help. Yes. So everybody, we will see you in the next episodes and in the YouTube channel and all the other places. And we will finally have an online presence on our Instagram page. So we love you all very, very much.
Very much.
And we will see you in the next episode.